Hey everybody, welcome back. Hey, I got something I want to cover today. Have you heard the news? Federal workers are getting laid off. They're getting fired. Now, a lot of judges are going to be able to put a stop to that on a temporary basis, but I think a lot of people are going to be unemployed in the next couple of months. And I want to talk about doing handmade items from home, and just want to cover a few basics. All right. Now, I bring up the layoffs from the federal government because those are going to be happening on the state level as well as the local level as time goes by. Now, there's going to be some places where you get the balancing act, where you get some people hired, some people get let go, and it's going to balance out. But I just want to let you know that from my perspective, if they start letting out a lot of these full-time or even part-time employees, we're going to have a lot more competition making handmade items. To make things even worse, have you heard about the tariffs? Oh my gosh. If they go into effect, we are going to have a very hard time getting materials. Which brings me around to the aspect of doing handmade. Now, handmade items, they could be made out of wood, like what I make. Maybe it could be somebody making pottery, or maybe they do fabric work, whether it be sewing, or perhaps it's like a crochet or knitting type of service. How about artists, the painters out there? Wow, that's a great handmade business. But what I want to try to explain is that all of these aspects of doing handmade does constitute a lot of skilled labor, and it's something that AI is not going to be able to circumvent on the short term. On the long term, there's probably going to be a lot of jobs lost. But it is a skilled business, whether it be working on a table saw, working with a turning table for ceramics, sewing machines, all that good stuff. Back in the 1800s and 1700s, they used to refer to this as a cottage industry. Basically, everybody worked from their home, and we didn't have much going on in terms of the industrialized revolution. Well, of course, in the 21st century, that's changed an awful lot. So anyway, I just want to bring back the point that whether you're doing woodworking or whether you're doing other cottage industry businesses, it all comes down to the materials and the cost of materials. Now, that's why I use an awful lot of this pallet wood. Now, of course, pallet wood doesn't cost that much except for a little bit of labor to break down the pallets, and you have to take a little bit of time to try to figure out how to manipulate your projects on what wood you have given. But it's the same thing whether you're working with clays or with certain fabrics. So the whole idea is that if you can keep your resource materials down low, the cost that is, then you have a better chance of marketing your products at a decent price. Which brings up another point. Most cottage industries, like the woodworking or anything else that I mentioned before, we're going to have a lot more competition with layoffs. Now, the layoffs aren't just going to be through the federal government, as mentioned earlier, but if and when this recession comes through, we're going to find out that more and more people are going to be laid off. And it's not so much that there's going to be more people getting into the workforce, but less and less people are going to have disposable income to actually pay for various projects. Now, I covered these a while back. I do a few sets of these in the wintertime for church displays that you may want to have around your home, maybe on your mantelpiece or maybe on your bureau somewhere. I'll paint the doors or do all sorts of nice things to these. But again, if we have hundreds of more woodworkers out there, then the item price is going to drop because we have a lot more competition. But we also have the compounding factor that a lot of people are not going to have all that money to spend. So your items need to be unique. So it brings us back to the idea of whether or not you're going to be doing this as a hobby or you're going to try to do this as a business. Now, a business, you have all the expenses. As a hobby, you kind of offset those expenses by like, well, I just do it part-time. I do it for gifts or just helping friends out. But when you start looking at it as a business aspect, then you have to figure in the cost of your labor, of course, your overhead costs, whether you be in a shop. I work out of my house. My costs are a little bit less, but I still have expenses here. Materials, whether it be stain, sanding paper, breaking down of equipment. I just have my one of my sanders break on me. Basically, I need a new sanding pad. I ordered it, and it's still coming in the mail sometime. But my other sander, it actually went kaput. It was a Hercules sander from Harbor Freight. It only lasts about maybe 8 months, maybe 9 months. But basically, that burned up. Which I don't understand. A lot of this small equipment is burning up, especially if they're used on a regular basis. So anyway, hobby versus business. Now, in a business, you can write off a lot of things. I'll have another video on that. But you need to make the decision where you're going to do it hobby or you're going to have it as a business. And it doesn't matter what handmade business you're doing. I personally like the woodworking, so we're working on that. Now, you develop your skills. My YouTube skills are not all that big, I've been told. But they're skills that you learn over time. And so I'm hoping that by the time I get 20 videos or more, then my YouTube skills will be better. And I hope that increases my viewership. And I'd like to know if you have any questions in whether or not in regard to YouTube videos, making them in my small shop, or perhaps the business aspect. And again, we talked a little bit about the handmade issues, the competition issues, and other things that you may want to consider. I'm going to keep it pretty short today for this quick video. I do appreciate you showing up, and those who have subscribed, keep checking in from time to time. I have a lot more subjects that I'd like to cover, and if I can get your feedback, I would really like that, because then we can communicate more on a one-to-one basis. And with that, I will let you be. I have to get back to work. I'm actually working on a thin rip jig right now, and I'll be utilizing different pieces of wood and frames, boxes, and whatnot, like spline joints. So I'll be showing you that maybe on the next video or the video after that. But I just want to give you a quick talk through. All right, thank you very much. Keep your fingers crossed on all those people that are being let go by the federal government. I'm kind of torn two ways. One, I know we can't afford it because we're in $37 trillion in debt as a nation, and that's nothing. When you start looking at the debt just from the state level and the local levels, it's a lot worse out there than what a lot of people think. So if you can make items at home, great. If you can sell them, that's even better. But remember, your prices are going to have to come down. That's not a good thing, but if you want to move your items, you're going to have to drop the prices. All right, with that said, I'll let you go. Again, thank you.